Hello there, Ray here, and we have a brand new snapshot. This is 20W20A. This is part of the new snapshots for upcoming 1.16.2. The whole point of this new upcoming version is to kind of fix other bugs that they never finished fixing in the full release of 1.16. We have a lot of big changes today to look at, especially like changes to bartering, villagers, Blackstone, and much more. And don't forget to go ahead and subscribe, as I've been playing Minecraft for 11 years and I really enjoy sharing my knowledge of the game with you guys. And after this video goes live, we're going to go ahead and open up a server where you guys can hop on with me as we test out all these new changes and see how this affects Minecraft players. You can find my Twitch linked down in the description. Now let's get into all the new features as well as bug fixes for this snapshot. So the first big change that they did to this new snapshot is bartering. They actually added some new items to bartering. They didn't remove any. So now we'll have access to a few new items. Let's go ahead and take a look at a spreadsheet that Cheater Codes made for me. So this shows all the different items over here on the left hand side, and it shows the weights, like how often you'll see this item come up per trade, the average amount that you'll get when you do trade, when you do get this item, the chance of actually getting this item, how much you'll get of it per ingot on average, as well as how much you'll get per stack. So a very useful chart that he put together. So the new item you can see down here is Blackstone. Blackstone is one of the things you get from this biome here. This is the Delta biome. You can also get it from bastions, but it was a limited resource, meaning that you could, in theory, mine up all the Blackstone possible in the whole game of Minecraft. There wasn't no renewable way of getting it. So now it's a renewable resource. You get it from the piglin bartering. Pretty much exact same rarity as gravel, so you can get a lot of it, which is awesome. And Blackstone can pretty much be used to build any other type of stone thing. So all things that you can build with stone, you can also use Blackstone to do that, meaning you could kind of live in the nether dimension, which is exactly how we started out Protosky. And in Protosky we did extreme nether skyblock, where we started in the nether using all the new nether stuff. So this change could have made a big change to the way we did it. It would have made it a lot more easier. Next new item is spectral arrows. So this is essentially a type of arrow. Spectral arrows just allow the glowing effect to be applied, but most people just use these as normal arrows. This makes it a lot easier to get arrows in the nether dimension rather than killing skeletons. And people that are doing like speed runs of Minecraft can kind of hope to get enough spectral arrows, as they are very common, being about 10% chance. And on average you will get 9, which is a decent amount, and over time you eventually get quite a few. The next new item is way up here where this stuff is sort of rare, and this is the water bottle. Kind of a crazy thing to think that there's a water bottle in the nether, but this also means that you can possibly make potions all from within the nether dimension. As before, you'd have to leave this dimension in order to get water. But now you can use water bottles, put it into a cauldron, scoop it up with your bucket to get a source block. You can even get a water bucket that way. Now this would be a huge change if we started Protosky with this added, meaning that we could easily get a combo generator, probably even before we got a nether portal, just because you can use water bottles to eventually make a water source. The way we had to do it is we had to put cauldrons out, wait for it to rain, and randomly have a random chance of those getting filled, which on average takes about 20 hours. So those 3 items are the new items added. Water bottle is quite rare. Only have about 2% chance of getting it. Similar rarity of getting like the nuggets. This is a really nice document. You can see on average, if you give a whole stack of gold ingots, you'd only get about 1.5 water bottles. And people that are trying to speedrun Minecraft are trying to get ender pearls. So given a whole stack, you'd only get on average 4.5 ender pearls, just because the average amount is so low, as well as the chance of getting them. But other than that, they didn't remove any of the items. The percentages have changed a little bit so that they would equal 100% still at the end. All in all, this really does change people that are trying to play in the nether dimension, or at least start in the nether dimension. You have a much more solid start. Now they did fix it so you can now actually craft a brewing stand with Blackstone, which is something you couldn't do before. But it doesn't seem like you can actually craft pistons with Blackstone. So there's still some inconsistencies with swapping like between Blackstone and normal stone. Something like a dropper, you can also not craft with it. So pretty much anything that seems to be using redstone doesn't allow you to use Blackstone. I can't actually get redstone in another dimension, but it would be nice if they would make it more consistent. When it comes to crafting, it does seem like it has priority over using the cobble over the Blackstone. They also added so now particles will show up when a villager connects with his workstation. It's also applied when he joins a village or when he sets a home bed. This will make it a lot more visual to see what's going on. Otherwise, we really depend on like data packs or mods to know what's going on with these villagers. They also made a change to Tomes of Dying. Now they give you 40 seconds worth of fire resistance when they are used. This is great if you happen to fall into some lava and you go ahead and die. It gets used up, and you can see now if I look at my effects, like a fire resistance for 40 seconds. So very useful. If you fall in lava, it gives you time to escape it without just immediately dying afterwards from the fire effect. In this new snapshot, they came out with an experimental thing, which is support for custom biomes in data pack. They did have to change some of the internal plumbing to make this work, so if you see any problems with it, they ask for people to give feedback on it. Now with the custom biome support, this can be found in the World Gen folder on the data packs. This includes biome definitions, world carver settings, feature placement, structure placement, definition for surfaces, block processors, as well as a pool of structures that I can choose from using jigsaw structures. Custom biomes can now be used in single biome as well as the caves, floating islands, world types when you choose your worlds. And the custom biomes can also be used with custom dimension generators. So a lot of cool stuff there. Really exciting to see what people do with that. They also made a change for dedicated server with packet limits. Now dedicated servers can now kick clients that consistently send too many packets within a second. A lot of people use ACT clients, which kind of can modify what packets are sent and received from a server, allowing them to do certain stuff that shouldn't normally be possible. Now dedicated servers can limit the number of packets. This is using rate limit, which is in server properties, and also defaults to 0, which is no limit. The first change that they made was a change to how thorns work. Now thorns has a chance of doing damage back. It's not always 100%. The problem was if a mob would hit you, and even though the thorns wouldn't go back and hurt the mob that attacked you, it was still doing extra damage to the chestplate. Usually durability is done to the armor when the mob attacks, and then there's a extra amount that is done when the thorn effects turns around, it does damage back. And that's why wearing Thorn's armor, it usually degrades super fast. The bug was it was also doing this reduction in durability, even if the Thorn's effect never worked. Let's go ahead and give it a try. We got Silverfish here. We got some Thorn's armor on. Go into survival, and we can watch it go down. It is, like you see it go down by 1. Every time you see it go down like by a bunch, it's doing damage back to him. So this way Thorn's armor is actually going to be a lot more useful because it's not going to go down every time. It's only going to go down a big chunk when durability is done back to the mob. And it takes down 3 durability, 1 for a normal mob hit, and then the 2 extra durability for that Thorn's effect going back towards them. So what this means is that Thorns actually might be more useful to use in like farms. I designed a lot of farms based off of Thorns where mobs attack the player and then the Thorns would kill them, making it considered a player kill. And this will make those farms a lot more viable. In the past, I would have to limit the number of armor I would put on the player just because it would take a lot of durability and you get very few XPs off of the mob once you killed it. Now with this change, you shouldn't take as much durability. It means you can put in more pieces, might be able to put a full suit on, and the XPs will be able to actually repair the full suit. So definitely see more farms from me using this effect. So they added ability so you can use data merge entity and then the type of entity that you're looking at, and then you can change it so that they can change into like a baby zombie or even a villager using this command. So if I go ahead and enter this, you can see we actually turned that entity into a baby instead of having to summon in a new one, or we can change it into like a zombie villager. They made a change to how fungus trees generate. Instead of them just generating on the highest layer of the biome, meaning that any type of overhang like this would be completely bare of trees underneath, they added it so that they can generate anywhere where there is the appropriate type of biome. So in overhangs or like in caves, we should be able to see the fungus trees sprout out. Now there was a bug with hoglins that you guys probably seen when we were doing testing, which is they didn't pathfind very well going up like steps or down steps. This was because when they were partly on top of air, meaning that their hitbox was kind of hanging over the edge, really hard time pathfinding around. And this bug was actually fixed. So now you just have to watch out more because these guys will be able to easily like run up these sides. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Go into survival. Let's see if he can run up here, get me pretty easily. Oh yeah, they're having no problem getting up here. In the last snapshot, they tried fixing a bug where minecarts weren't burning in lava. Let's go ahead and give it a try. And hey guys, it's working again. And yeah, they burn like in fire too. So cool. So you can use like lava to destroy your minecart. Sleepicles weren't able to be placed on soul sand, and now they added that. This is great for aligning items while also letting them be able to get picked up from underneath using hoppers. Now piglins who had the inability to pick up items were actually just standing by them, even though they wouldn't be able to pick them up, and now that has been changed. It made it so water traders won't drink their invisibility potions if they're in the nether dimension or the end dimension, even though it's nighttime in the overworld. They made a fix to trapdoors where mobs are actually able to spawn on the new types of trapdoors as well as the iron ones, even though they're not able to spawn on normal ones. This was something that one of the viewers actually discovered during our snapshot testing, and we designed some cool farms using this, as you can make pretty fast farms where you drop mobs down using trapdoors. Those farms will no longer be able to be used in 1.16.2. They fixed the bug to do with Rails creating extra updates, more updates than they used to, like in version 1.12. Now this is one of the annoying bugs that was brought to me and I talked about during the video covering 25 bugs that still exist in 1.16. This means that using Rails as an alternative way to send signals will be as lag friendly as in 1.12. They fixed a problem to do with Enderman, which was introduced in 1.16. They're able to teleport to blocks that they shouldn't be able to do, like Bedrock. This is not a good thing because if you would like hit an Enderman and he would decide to teleport, it's possible for him to actually teleport to the very top of the nether ceiling. Hopefully all you guys that were talking about having Enderman teleport to weird blocks in your farms, this should not be fixed. There was a problem to do with how ore was generated using a 32-bit float, which wasn't a real problem near spawn, but if you went out to the world border, due to the ore veins being positioned in adjacent chunks resulting in runaway chunk loading. Now, we never had problems going out to the world border, but oftentimes when we do go to the world border on Protect, we have to restart the server shortly afterwards, just because so much lag is implemented afterwards. They made quite a few changes to do with the jigsaw block here. They fixed a problem to do with structure blocks, which was the 32 limit, which was in the past and was increased to 48. The 32 limit was still being implemented on dedicated servers. So this allows us to be able to move structures around a lot more easily. They fixed a problem to do with cactuses inside of flower pots, not looking quite right. They fixed a problem where fungus trees were growing right through fire. Let's go ahead and give it a try, and now you can see they will extinguish the fire. There was a problem that comparator clocks at some locations were causing extreme amount of lag, so much that it would drop your frames all the way to 0, and this bug has not been addressed. They fixed a little problem to do with the crimson slabs showing up incorrectly on maps. During our snapshot testing stream, we had a lot of crashes, and it was when piglins, the normal ones or the brutes, were converted over into zombified piglins. And that has now been fixed. They reverted a change that was in the last snapshot where players as well as mobs wouldn't take damage if they were both inside lava as well as water at the same time. So if we summon in an iron golem, he will still take damage even if he is touching water at the same time he is touching lava. And even if the player does it, it does like make the hissing noise, but you will still take damage. So the changes we made to combat this problem will no longer be necessary as it's been reverted back. Oh wow, that's a really weird visual. I think that's that thing over there popping up in front of my... What the heck? People that had villagers in like 1.14 and would go ahead and update those worlds to 1.16 were finding that their villagers vanished. And now that should no longer be the case. A lot of really cool changes in this snapshot. Even though they said they mostly were just going to do bug fixes for 1.16.2, we see a lot of new features and even bug fixes which could be considered feature because they're so extreme. I'd love to hear what you guys think about these changes down in the comments, especially to do with the bartering. And guys, don't forget to join us during our snapshot testing stream right after this video. You can hop on the server as we play around with these new changes. You can find all our information on my Twitch link. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!